Hi, I'm Glenn Hughes.
And I'm Ed Buzio.
For 3 decades, I've been working inside a publicly traded company.
And for over a decade, I've been an entrepreneur supporting companies like Glenn's from the outside.
In this series, we look at the problems and challenges of the modern workplace
And provide our ideas and advice.
From the inside
and out. Office politics. Now there's a loaded topic. We often hear complaints about office politics and how there's too much of that going on. So our topic is, Glenn, how much is too much?
That is a loaded question. I think to start with that, we'd first have to ask, what is politics? Particularly in the context of an organization. I've been in the same company for 28 years. So for me, like a fish swimming in water, my political environment is I'm almost completely unaware
You may
of.
not notice it anymore. Absolutely,
Yeah, if it was ever a conscious part of my life, it's in my DNA now. So I'm going to throw it back to you. You work with a lot of different companies, and I'm suspecting you see a lot of different levels of office politics. Talk about that.
It's amazing the difference. I walk into a lot of environments, and as an outsider, it's immediately clear to me how much political activity there is, what the look of it is, and what the feel of it is. But the people on the inside, like you said, first of all, they're not aware of it, and second, they're convinced that it's like that everywhere. So I see the differences, and they don't. What seems to help me differentiate between maybe good and bad versus more or less is, are we being political and organizing ourselves around useful output? Or are we being political and organizing ourselves around protecting my output at the cost of yours? I think that latter one is what people usually mean when they talk about politics, is when my personal sort of space becomes more important than the broader good of the organization.
Yeah, and so I know you use the language a lot, output versus stress. I use the language signal versus noise. And I think that is a lot of it is when whatever we're calling politics is something that helps me get work done, whether it's the relationships that I have lunch with this person, or I know the way that this process, this invisible process happens because I've been around long enough to know the inner workings. If I can leverage those in my favor, then those are good things, right? But when I don't know them, when I don't understand them, or when they're counterproductive, when we're using them to hold people down, when we're using them to stop the right things from happening, that becomes noise in the system. And we spend all this time talking about the politics instead of getting the work done. I think you're right. That's where I would know in my own world, where's the barometer of too much versus not enough even.
And it's hard to read a little bit because I think especially from the inside, you're looking at it and you go, well, this is the process by which we do things. And I can think of an example, multiple examples from my work, both back when I was inside and now, where you find yourself in a meeting and it's a one-on-one meeting to prepare for a smaller meeting, which is going to prepare your messaging to a larger meeting, which is going to prepare your message to the big thing. And I've been in those situations where I would say it was political and ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've also been in those situations where the big meeting at the end was a very large, let's say, international forum or something, and it was legitimate preparation. So you have to sort of ask yourself, is there a better way or not? If there's not, it's still politics, but maybe it's a different kind of politics than if it's really all about some leader somewhere who's just demanding to see everything when really that's not appropriate.
Yeah, going back to your meeting example, I mean, I can think of being in a meeting, and when there's a topic on the table, I want to be able to represent myself and my team and my organization and my output in a way that will be heard. Mm-hmm. And so, to the extent that it's political, for me to think, how do I say this so that it's accepted, is, I think, smart and beneficial and okay. To the extent where I'm thinking, how do I couch this because I'm afraid and they'll kill me if I say, that part that's not good. If I can't be truthful and honest and authentic because of this invisible network of politics that's happening around me, that really becomes frustrating.
And one of the ways we address that, or at least we try and address that with our clients, is there's always this reptile brain that wants to protect you, and that never goes away. So one key important question we have to ask ourselves when we look at the organization as a system is, does your reptile brain perceive protecting you as at the expense of your peers and structure, or does it perceive your success as being the success of your peers and the structure, in which case your reptile brain will act to protect the broader structure? How we define your success is crucially important to whether or not we turn it into something that what you're describing is sort of negative political, which is I'm gonna kind of position and carefully groom my message to protect myself and my interests.
I'm a little worried that you just called me a reptile 3 or 4 times in a single sentence.
At least that, maybe 5.
So the question for our viewers is, how are the politics in your environment? Are they creating output for you, or are they creating stress? Is it signal or is it noise?